The biggest question in Kenyan politics today is, why is UDA so terrified of Limuru III, the planned conference of the House of Mumbi in a historic Kenyan town, which in the past has held meetings that have changed the course of Kenyan history? Why are UDA so scared? Why are they so terrified? Kwani these people, the House of Mumbi, the Mount Kenya region, kwani watadu what? What will they do? On my very fascinating show today, we take a closer look at this very topical issue in our politics, and we emerge with some super fascinating, very interesting points that you don't want to miss. So please stick around for your usual political fix. But before we do that, please allow me to take you to Baringo County, where a recent expose by NTV has left Kenyans shell-shocked. I am of course talking about the school that has now become very famous, indeed world famous, and yet this school does not have a single student, but it has a board that is Kenyans running this non-existent school. But all that is not the interesting part of the story. Hey, the interesting part of the story is that this school has been getting allocations from the government. Allocations just like the other schools which actually exist. And so the question is, where does that money go? And in this case the answer is obvious. Corruption in Kenya. Very creative, very rampant, going overboard. That is the story of corruption in Kenya. But it doesn't stop there. Kaptioni Girls High School was also a polling station in August 2022. It had a returning officer. It had IEBC staff. It had a KIMS kit. It had everything. And yes, it produced election results. And it was also a polling station in 2017. Hii Kenya yetu. Now on our Telegram forum yesterday, somebody asked, does anybody know how many votes came out of this ghost polling station, ghost secondary girls school? Does anybody know? Well, the accurate answer to that question, it is anybody's guess. Because these are the polling stations during elections you will never see flashing on your TV screen with results. The only thing you'll see are the results of Baringo County. And usually the particular number of votes from this kind of polling station, because there are many, this is not the only one, can be any number required. Final tally of Baringo County so as to favor the candidate being rigged in to the presidency. In 2017, that candidate was Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. In 2022, that candidate was Dr. William Samoei Ruto. Folks, we are indeed in the season of exposure, where closely guarded secrets are being shouted from the rooftops of Kenya. It's no longer secret. It is now shocking news. Because it is one thing to hear Kumekucha Chris telling you that we have many ghost polling stations in the country, all over the place. And it is quite another for a mainstream local TV station to actually expose a classic example of such a ghost polling station, which also happens to be a ghost girls' high school. What? Well, it appears that today's show is all about ghosts, because even our main story is about the ghost of Limuru, who is currently giving people in government, people enjoy taxpayers' money, mishandling and misusing it like it is their personal property. This ghost of Limuru is giving those people sleepless nights. They can't get any sleep at night. And on my show today, we want to understand exactly why. And we have to start by understanding what has happened in Limuru in the past politically, so that we understand what this Limuru ghost is all about. Let's start with a correction. With all due respect to the organizers of Limuru III, what will take place on 17th May 2024 is not Limuru III. It is actually Limuru IV. Let me explain. Limuru I was May 14th, 1960. A very stormy meeting that ended in a very unexpected way, and also ended with the formation of a party called Kenya African National Union, CANU. Limuru II was between 12th and 13th of March 1966. It was also a very volatile political meeting. People stormed out, and not small people. And then there was very controversial Limuru III on March 23rd, 2013. And one of the resolutions of Limuru III was to officially anoint Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta as the political spokesperson, the kingpin of the House of Mumbi. And now we await Limuru IV on 17th March 2024. And we have many political analysts who are saying that that meeting will not be allowed to take place. In my opinion, if that happens, then those who are trying to prevent it will cause a bigger problem for themselves. Because political temperatures right now in the Mount Kenya region are very high and still very rapidly climbing. And therefore, this is a volcano mountain now. And you can already see the smoke and the fire at the top. And you can hear the noise. And you can smell the rocks melting. Nikubaya jo. But the really critical question about 17th May 2024, Limuru III, the Limuru mother of all conferences, is who is financing it? Stick around and I will hazard a guess. An informed guess. Okay? I'm sure you're looking forward to that. Now, one of the reasons why Limuru conferences, Limuru meetings, are so deadly politically is because all, not most or some, all of them have happened after another meeting. In my opinion, an even deadlier meeting has taken place to plan that Limuru conference. And 17th May 2024 is no exception. You know, about 2 months ago, a report that got a very lukewarm response, maybe because of the boring title. The title was The 6 Men and 1 Woman Who Will Decide the Destiny of Kenya, and what they are plotting behind the scenes. And the woman was Martha Karua in that particular special report. And one of the men was Raila Odinga. And this report dived into the things these people are doing behind the scenes, chini ya maji, that is going to have an enormous impact on how this ends, our current political crisis. And no, I don't want to tell you that I saw this coming. Instead, I want to say that this Limuru conference was very predictable. At least it was to those who took in that special report I produced. Now, there is another important question we'll need to answer in order to fully grasp and understand what we're facing here. And that question is, who are the opponents? Simply put, imagine a boxing ring. On one corner is so-and-so, and on the other corner is somebody else. And both of them have very impressive credentials coming into this political boxing event. And that one, my friends, is the main reason why these Limuru meetings always without fail produce too much drama and far-reaching political consequences in the country called Kenya. In 1960, on one corner of the boxing ring was Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, and on the other corner was another legend, Thomas Joseph Odhiambo Boya, simply known as Tom Boya. And in this particular instance, the deadly meeting before the deadly Limuru meeting had taken place in somebody's house. Actually in Julius Kianu's house in Riruta, Nairobi. And bila kizungu mingi, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga assembled all the big political heavyweights he could find, especially from the Mount Kenya region, with the intention of forming a national political party that would leave out his big political rival, Tom Boya. And of course at the time, everybody was smelling uhuru, independence for Kenya. And so Jaramogi's strategy was that with a big national political party that did not have Boya as one of its members, this would finish his political opponent. And so you can guess, at this meeting in Riruta, they strategized on how they were going to pull that one off at Limuru. And May 14th, 1960 arrived, and delegates streamed in at Limuru. And then drama. Tom Boya arrived at that meeting and was jeered by the delegates. And it looked like Jaramogi's plan was going to work. Kumbe, these people who were booing Tom Boya were not the majority. And Limuru 1 ended in a very different way from what the planners and the plotters had planned. Because yes, a new national political party was formed, CANU. But Boya also had his own party. He was party leader of a party called Nairobi People's Convention Party, a very vibrant and well-financed political party. And this political party, Nairobi People's Convention Party, merged with the other outfits there to form this CANU. And Tom Boya ended up as the Secretary General of CANU. Limuru II, that started on 12th March 1966, and this is super fascinating, was round 2 of Limuru 1. Only that this time round, the Kiambu Mafia, those close to Jomo Kenyatta, got Tom Boya to do to Jaramogi what Jaramogi had wanted to do to him in Limuru 1. Only this time to clip the wings and weaken Jaramogi, who was already the second most powerful person in the country as Vice President of Kenya. And Boya moved a motion to change the CANU constitution from the position of having only one Vice President to having 8, one for each province of Kenya, thus diluting the powers of Jaramogi, reducing him to only one of the 8 Vice Presidents. And Jaramogi stormed out. But that resolution was passed. CANU constitution was changed, and Jaramogi was toast. Political toast. Limuru III, March 23, 2013, on one corner of the ring was Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, and on the other corner of the ring was the International Criminal Court at The Hague, where Uhuru at the time was facing some very serious charges. And the whole idea was to send a message to the ICC that this man you're prosecuting is not a small man. He is the kingpin of the House of Mumbi. We may not know much about the deadly meeting before this Limuru meeting. However, we can guess the whole idea was to send a message to the ICC. Fast forward to the much anticipated Limuru Convention on 17th May 2024, this year. On one corner of the ring is the House of Mumbi. On the other corner is Dr. William Samoei Ruto, current president of Kenya. Will this much hyped Limuru III have any impact? Well, we know that the political temperatures at the moment in the mountain are very high, which further confirms that definitely something will happen. Definitely things are not going to be the same again after this Limuru Convention. And then we also have to consider the Maina Njenga factor. Maina Njenga is a mobilizer in the mountain, and he doesn't have to attend personally. As long as one of his delegates is there, the message will get to Maina Njenga, and the mountain will be mobilized just like that. Now, there are those analysts who believe that there's a link between this upcoming Limuru event and the tearaway movement amongst the Mulembe nation. I'm one of those analysts who agree with that observation, which gives us a very strong clue as to who the major financier of this Limuru event may be. It is important to note that no major tycoon of the region will want to stick their neck out. Because being in business, you have to be careful. The government can damage you. Even if you don't support the policies of that government, you don't want to come out clearly in opposition to the current government. And that greatly narrows down our list of suspects, if we can call them that. In my opinion, it is pretty obvious. In fact, more than obvious who the major financier is. Especially when you consider that in this kind of scenario, this financier, this major backer, even moral backer of this Limuru event, must have sponsored previous political events in the Mount Kenya region. It becomes more than obvious. But in case you want to reconfirm, you can take in that special report I produced about 2 months ago, the 6 men and 1 woman who will decide the destiny of Kenya, which focuses on what these individuals, what these Kenyans have been doing behind the scenes. Then it will become very, very obvious. Now you can see details on your screens right now. I just have to make it available very briefly. For only Kenya shillings 19.99 or $15, you can get your hands on this special report. And then it will all be very clear, including what has been happening in the background and what we should expect going forward. Just use those details you see on your screens right now. Bottom line, whatever happens or fails to happen on the 17th of May, things in Kenya will never be the same again. Especially because this comes at a time when there is already a momentum heading in a certain direction against the current sitting government. But let us just wait and see what happens. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.